What if the rules you're living by aren't timeless truths, but training wheels you're meant to outgrow? That's the challenge from Friedrich Nietzsche, a bold, provocative thinker who believed your deepest task is to become who you are. If you've ever felt trapped by expectations, trends, or the fear of being judged, Nietzsche hands you a compass. Create. Don't just conform. Friedrich Nietzsche lived from 1844 to 1900, mostly in Germany and Switzerland. He started as a brilliant classical scholar and became a philosopher who wrote in sharp, memorable lines instead of heavy textbooks. He lived with chronic illness, traveled often, and wrote major works in the 1880s like The Gay Science, Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Beyond Good and Evil, and On the Genealogy of Morality. He suffered a mental breakdown in 1889 and never recovered, but his ideas went on to shape modern philosophy, literature, psychology, and culture. Before we dive in, one quick note. Nietzsche is often misunderstood. He was not a supporter of racism or nationalism. In fact, he criticized both and mocked anti-Semitism. Some of his ideas were twisted after his death, including by his sister, who edited and promoted his work in ways he likely would have rejected. With that in mind, let's look at what he actually tried to teach. Idea number 1. God is dead. And now we must build our own values. Nietzsche didn't mean a literal death. He meant that in modern Europe, belief in a single shared moral foundation had collapsed. Science, pluralism, and history had eroded old certainties, leaving a vacuum he called nihilism, the sense that nothing matters. His answer wasn't despair, but responsibility. If the old lighthouse is dark, we must learn to steer by stars we choose and verify through living. Think about it like your phone's GPS going offline. At first, you panic because the turn-by-turn directions vanish. But then you look up, learn landmarks, and start to navigate with your own judgment. Nietzsche says this is our moral task. Stop outsourcing meaning and start crafting it. Idea number 2. Will to power. The energy to grow, create, and overcome. Nietzsche didn't reduce this to domination or bossing people around. He meant the deep drive in living things to expand their strength, refine their skills, and turn chaos into something they can dance with. When you push past your comfort zone, learning a language, recovering from a setback, writing a song, you practice will to power as self-mastery. Imagine 2 athletes. One cheats to win, the other trains brutally honestly, using defeats as data, not excuses. Nietzsche's power is the second kind, a disciplined, life-affirming force that transforms frustration into fuel. You don't crush others. You outgrow yesterday's version of yourself. Idea number 3. Master and slave morality. 2 styles of judging good and bad. Master morality starts from strength. It calls noble what expresses energy, courage, and excellence. Slave morality starts from resentment, a simmering resentment that flips the values of the strong into vices and calls weakness a virtue. Nietzsche isn't telling you to be cruel. He's asking you to test whether your judgments come from growth or from envy. Picture this. A colleague succeeds, and instead of asking, "What can I learn?" you think, "They must have cheated." That's resentment. It makes you feel morally superior while staying stuck. Master morality would ask, "How do I level up?" The practical test is simple. Does my moral stance help me become more honest, brave, generous, and capable? Idea number 4. Eternal recurrence. Live so you choose this life again. Nietzsche asks a wild question. If a spirit told you that you must relive your life every moment over and over, would you curse it or say yes? This thought experiment isn't about metaphysics. It's a mirror for your choices. If the idea horrifies you, what could you change today so your answer moves toward yes? Treat it like a daily check-in. If you'd have to repeat this day infinitely, would you still doom scroll, avoid the hard conversation, or fake your values for likes? Or would you write the page, make the call, take the walk, tell the truth. Eternal recurrence turns life into a deliberate craft project. Alongside these ideas, Nietzsche offered a symbol, the Übermensch, often translated as the overman or beyond man. This is not a master race or a superhero. It's an image of a person who creates their values, loves fate, and embodies a joyful seriousness about life. You don't become the Übermensch by ruling others. You approach it by ruling yourself and making meaning through action. Why does all of this matter today? In a world of infinite feeds, we can mistake borrowed opinions for beliefs. Nietzsche pushes you to ask, do my values come from strength and experience, or from seeking approval and status points? In careers, the pressure to play it safe is real. Nietzsche invites you to practice intelligent risk. Ship the project, learn the skill, build the thing. Not recklessly, but with a willingness to be changed by the attempt. In mental health, his ideas show up in modern therapy in indirect ways: responsibility, reframing, and meaning-making. You can't control everything, but you can choose interpretations that energize rather than drain you. In leadership and teams, value creation isn't just profits, it's culture. Leaders can model self-overcoming, admit mistakes, raise standards, and turn setbacks into shared growth rather than blame games. In personal ethics, the master-slave lens is a practical tool. When you feel moral outrage, pause. Is it calling you to courageous action, or soothing your ego with superiority while changing nothing? Here are a few simple practices to make Nietzsche's ideas usable. 1. Write your 5 core values. In your own words. For each, add one behavior you'll do this week. Keep it concrete. Courage equals speak up once in the meeting. Creativity equals rough draft even if it's messy. 2. Do a daily eternal recurrence check. Ask, if I had to live this day again forever, what one thing would I change right now? Then do that one thing. 3. Track one self-overcoming. Notice where you feel small, petty, or envious. Turn it into training. Learn from the person you envy, practice a skill, or take a tiny step that replaces resentment with growth. 4. Practice amor fati, love of fate. When something annoying happens, say, good, a chance to get stronger, kinder, or clearer. It's not denial. It's turning obstacles into material for your character. Common misunderstandings to avoid. Will to power does not mean bullying. It means building inner strength and creative control over your life. God is dead is not a celebration. It's a diagnosis of a meaning crisis. The cure is to become a responsible creator of value, not a cynic. Master morality is not permission to be cruel. Nietzsche admired generosity, courage, and excellence, the virtues of a strong spirit. You might not agree with everything Nietzsche says. And that's the point. He isn't handing you a template. He's handing you a chisel. He wants you to carve a life that you can affirm, one hard decision at a time, with eyes open. So, simply put, Nietzsche invites you to face the collapse of borrowed certainties, create values grounded in strength and honesty, and live so fully that you could say yes to living it again. Become who you are, not by imitating anyone, but by overcoming who you were yesterday. If this helped make a big idea feel simple and useful, keep your mind sharp and your courage steady. Subscribe to Philosophy Explained simply.